So it is a great pleasure for me to introduce Baan from Omoda on stage to talk you through bits and pieces of the AI app that was delivered for Omoda. And afterwards, my colleague Karsten and myself will take over to talk a bit more about the technical details. Baan, please.
Thanks. Just a very brief intro of Omoda. We're an online and offline fashion business in the Netherlands. We sell everything I'm wearing today across different brands, multi-brand, about 300 to 500 different brands across the two companies we run, Omoda and Assem. And what we really focus on as a business is to try and be the most personal boutique for our customers with all the advantages of big retail. As personal as an offline boutique can be, online with all the scale advantages of quick delivery, a great website, good customer service, etc. The stuff I talked about this morning was about AI and the way we adopt this in our business. And over the past year or two, we have really been integrating the technology in our business, particularly in all of our processes across the whole business. But when we look at the vision of how we implement AI in our business, it really centers about one key thing, namely the value it can generate for our customers. Obviously, this technology helps every single company nowadays to become much more efficient, to improve the processes, to become much more cost efficient in a lot of different ways. But we see this really as a hygiene factor. In 1, 2, maybe 3 years from now, it will be a level playing field where all of our competitors will probably be as efficient as we are today, with all the technologies being implemented, making everyone able to automate the way they do their product catalog, to their logistics, to their projections for their ad spend, etc., etc. This is not where we see the value of AI. The value of AI, in our opinion, really centers around the way you can improve the customer experience. And that's why, if we look at a few enablers we need to implement this technology in our company, data ownership is one of the key parts of that. Because if you don't have the data yourself in your own systems, if you do that, if you outsource part of that, if you aren't able to centralize that, it becomes very, very difficult to implement this technology efficiently. A second very important part is a dedicated AI team. One of the key decisions we made is that we never ever hire anyone anymore without an approval of that specific AI team, that we can't automate it. But on top of that, this dedicated AI team does not really have an ROI target. Because when you look at the customer experience, the stuff we are able to develop nowadays does not always show you what it will deliver in 1 or 2 or 3 months from now. So what we do is we just invest. We try, we play with the technology, and then we see whatever sticks. Very important part, because if you don't iterate, and if you don't give your team the ability to iterate and make the mistakes, or maybe waste some money during the process, you will never ever be able to create a very novel customer experience using this technology. And the last one, obviously, is that from a leadership perspective, there needs to be a clear mandate. A mandate that we can spend, a mandate that the team that's working with this technology is able to implement it throughout the customer journey, online and offline. And obviously, very important, this vision of the leadership team needs to align with the vision of the AI team. Using these enablers and the vision we had here, we started working very closely with Rappit over the past few years to develop a technology that has enabled us to create very novel customer experiences. That's where I want to hand over again to Ruud and Karsten.
Thank you, Jan. So now it's time for a little deep dive. I'll try to keep it as high level as possible. But this is about the AI journey that we have done together. So Rappit, we are a premier partner with Google, and our journey started in 2020. So first, we implemented a custom ERP based on lots of different technologies and a custom warehouse management system. If we look at today, 11 Google products are in use by Omoda. And most of them are state of the art. The most modern technologies are adopted. So Omoda is definitely an early adopter. So who is Rappit? With Rappit, we make your enterprise software future ready, allowing you to outperform your peers. What does that mean? You need to go faster, right? So you need to develop more with the same resources. We help you with that. We help you with our software, which is called the Rappit platform, and we help you with our developers. We have a large group of developers in the Netherlands and in India. So we go 4 times faster, sometimes 10 times faster. It depends on the project, of course. But it's an increased developer productivity, and that's important because the competition is also speeding up. And how do we do that? We modernize applications. So oftentimes we look at monolith systems, we break them up in smaller components, also called microservices. And with our technology, we make things future ready. We make sure that these applications, these services can be maintained in the future. Most importantly, our vision is to provide our customers with a zero vendor lock-in. There's no other low-code or no-code vendor in the market that provides zero vendor lock-in. The code, the containerized code, is always yours. The platform is ours. And we provide you with forever young code. Forever young means that it's easy to update your software. Everything is based on modern technologies. It's open. You can get to the data. You can let it consumed by other systems. So you can always upgrade and update your products. Now, the Rappit platform consists of several items, and we have the developer side, which is a bit of a low-code area where you can build applications and services very, very fast. But there's still the option to exit the platform, right? So you can build anything, literally. And there is the Rappit Composer platform, and that's more like a no-code environment. So it's even faster, but it's also more limited. Is it difficult for our customers? No. Our experts will decide what side of the same coin is the best to use in a specific use case. As a premier partner, we can service all Rappit products, all Google products, and we can provide implementation projects and everything for all Google projects. Now with that, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Karsten, who is going to tell you a lot more about the innovative project at Omoda.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Karsten van Aalten. I work for Rappit now more than 6 years in the role of solution architect, software architect, and I have the ability to design customer projects together with customers, people like you. And that's the most amazing job, if you ask me. And today, I want to show you a little bit under the hood of what Jan is telling us, of what we have done with the AI Stylist. So basically, the question, what shall I wear today? How can you transform that question into something that actually makes sense? Where does it start? And there are a few goals that we need to achieve. We want to have an improved conversion. Of course, it needs to add a value to the current sales of Omoda. And to achieve that, they want to have natural conversations. Like Jan was telling, it is very important that the online experience is the same as in the boutique. And just a question, how many people of you have been in an Omoda shop? Well, quite some, but still some to go. I want to advise you actually go there because you notice there is a different experience with other shops because they really want to get that intimate feeling, that intimate advice. And we want to bring that also into the Stylist application with really user-based suggestions. And how to get there is what I'm going to show you right now. Let's dive in. So basically, we started with the AI stylist in the sense that we need a human language that will actually, when you ask something, it will actually dive into the system itself. So it's not just related to product information, but it's related to actually more information, because basically every web shop has product information, and you can search on details like color, etc., and you will get the results. But if you talk about an AI stylist, you want to go beyond that. And how we are going to achieve that is what I will show you. We start with getting as much information as possible from a client, from a user. So not only the click path, is what you can see in Google Analytics, but also more, what are people searching? If you have a search phrase that you actually type, you want to remember it. And along the way, the further as a client you get through the process of a sale, the more information you would like to have. And not only in the information that the people is seeing, but also the next steps they take. Hey, you have searched for something, you clicked on something else, what is related? And all that information adds up to the data that you can use basically to play with. So that's where it all will start and what is needed. So in the case of Omoda, like Jan was mentioning this morning, it started with just product information. But if you talk about a human language, a really semantic search, where you can enter a phrase that has information, you will probably talk about the weather, the type of occasion, etc. And that information we need to really add into the product database itself. So it's not just like myself, a trouser with a collar and it's a jeans and you can wear it everywhere. No, you're going to add styling information, fitting features, all kinds of attributes that make more sense to let the AI model, in Vertex AI, being used to retrieve that information. So how do you do that? How do you actually get there? And it starts by getting the correct data silos. The most important thing, and that's also one of the key takeaways I will end up with, is to get the data integration and the pipelines ready. Make sure you have that information and you store that information correctly into the system. And if you have that information in the system, it's very important that you cleanse it, that you make sure that products are not double, that if you use multiple sources, it's in there in a single way, and not over redundant. So the data has to be correct, and once the data is correct, then you can check on the visualization. You can see, is the data actually there? And that's what you have to do in certain iterations in order to get where you want to go. And as soon as you know that the data is really ready, then we can start creating the so-called AI agent, the agent itself. Tell what an agent can do, specifically more, tell what an agent not can do. Because if you look for fashion, if you look for an outfit, you don't want to be that somebody, you don't want the fact that if somebody would type in some political question or something about a war or whatever, that it will give the correct answer. And make it personal, of course. So in a technical way, how do we do that? Basically, we get the data sources correctly into the streaming pipelines, save that, in our case, especially with Google, in BigQuery, make that a correct data lake that has the information. And from that moment on, start with cleansing. And also automate that cleansing. Because one thing you know for sure, in the world of fashion, in the world of retail, things will change. What is now the fashion of today will not be the fashion for tomorrow. Seasons change, you know that. So autumn is coming after summer. So you need to adjust yourself. And you know that the data is changing, so also the data cleansing needs to change. So we need to have mechanisms in place that making sure that the data, rapidly changing data, is still going to be correct. And in order how to do that is a tool we used, you heard it also this morning, for example, Looker, where you can actually validate the data. Because there's a challenge when you build chatbots, specifically by techies who are not that much into fashion maybe, they don't know if everything is correct. And analytic tools like Looker, where you can also use human language, generative AI, to fetch information, you can actually verify that and then start building the chatbots on top of that. All right. So how does that work? You start by creating what we say a so-called LLM, a large language model that actually can gather the information from the database itself. And then by something that we call vector searching in the world of AI, where you can actually add all these attributes related to fashion, related to product, actually related to an outfit. It's not products, it's a combination of products in an outfit. And once you have the vector search possibility available, then you can build on top of that the AI agents. So just to give you a small idea of how that vector searching is working, I have used an example. So let's say I want to ask the system, I would like to have a casual fresh outfit for spring in a green color. We have a product database having all these features. Then what you see is we're going to look for, in this case, I just added 3 attributes. Let's say the color, the style, and also the fit. So specifically for color, I asked to be in green, and the style, it has to be casual. And then of course, I hope to have information to make sure that the outfit will actually fit. So what the system will do, just by these 3 examples, it will know, okay, I will search exactly on this spot if I take a look at these 3 areas, and I will search the closest neighbor that belongs to it. Or maybe if it's on the website, shows several that are very close. And then based on that, you can build up the products from the database and keep growing and keep learning also along that process. And that's what we do with vector searching, and that's why it's also important, like Jan said this morning, to really add more metadata to the system itself. So next to the product data, we add more data, also using generative AI to get the information that we need. So how would that work? On top, we have the source of information. We move that by what we call an indexing pipeline into the AI system, into Vertex, and then basically what we've built into Vertex holds all that information that the chatbot can use. So let's play the game. The user query is asking something, for example, give me a dress for an outing, or it will drop an image and say, I need something like this, because you have seen maybe an outfit, you would like to use it. So there is a search service. It will ask Vertex AI the specific search that has been asked. And if you add a semantic phrase, like the example before, then it will transform that into the required product aspects, and then basically turn over the results, and leaving in this example, for example, 4 outfits to be shown. And that's basically how the system works. Well, how do we get there? If we take a look at the project approach, we started by the definition, then really important, making sure that the data sources are really correct. After that, do the index searching, validate that that is also well available, and then continue with building the chatbots itself. And the most challenging part is 1 and 2, and once you have that solid foundation available, then in a couple of months it's possible to do the rest. All right, I would like to wrap up with the following: the fact that research states that 50% of Gen AI projects, they fail. And the main reason is, like I said in the beginning, a takeaway: data is the most important. The data has to be correct, has to be in good quality. Because of the time, I'm not going to dive into much details of the rest. There are risk controls, escalating costs if you don't know what you do, or if the business value is not correct, or if it becomes more challenging, then that's also a risk. And that's something you really want to prevent. So think about it in the beginning, get a good partner to deal with it, make sure your data is correct. Even if you have legacy systems, you want to replace to a more sophisticated solution, but still out of legacy system, a lot of good data is possible to get out of there.